Hello and welcome to the third episode of the mini series of conversations on Sustainable Industry Academia Partnership for Skill Education in India. In the last two episodes, you would have watched how we started a discussion with the CEOs of three sector skill councils, that is logistics, electronics and automotive, to understand the initiatives that are being taken up by them, particularly in the context of NEP 2020, which talks about integrating skills with academic learning and many other aspects of it. I'm sure you would have found that there are many important things that are happening right now, and you might want to get connected with them and learn more. In case you want to do so, do write into us or write directly to the sector skill councils with your queries, and I'm sure you will be finding really helpful information from them. Now, before we move ahead with the third episode, I just wanted to give you a brief. So in the third episode, we are going to focus on how to make this industry academia partnership really sustainable, engaging, and how it can be scaled up and how it can be made more impactful and mutually rewarding. And also in the backdrop of the fact that we just saw in the last episode how technology is disrupting jobs, and then also new jobs are coming up, there's a need for upskilling. So all that discussion is going to feed into this episode, where we are going to learn more about how this strengthening and sustainability aspect can be really put into practice, along with the importance of the role of trainers, who are really the pillars of this particular aspect of industry academia partnership. So now let's go ahead and continue our conversation with Dr. Abhilasha Gaur from the Electronics Sector Skill Council, Mr. Arindam Lahiri from the Automotive Sector Skill Council, and Mr. Ravikanth Yamarthy from Logistics Sector Skill Council. With this now, I'd ask Dr. Abhilasha about your industry. So this is the last round of our discussion, where we want to learn from you about a few solid action points for, let us say, academic institutions like schools, colleges, universities, or even training institutions or ITIs, if they have to build this sustainable connect with the industry beyond the curriculum, beyond the books which they study, how do they do it practically? Like recently, we have done a series on exploring MSME sector. Right, because in every industry there is the very strong MSME presence. So maybe is that a way? And also the other side is, like, say, there is a semiconductor policy from the government, which we read in the news, or we from NSN, we keep track of all these things, or there is some development in ESDM. These colleges become very curious. Some professors become very curious, and they feel, okay, can I offer a course? How do I do this? So we repeatedly get into these discussions in our conversations with them. So maybe you can throw some light on this. And also we need 2 to 3 solid action points for this sustainable connect with the academia and the industry, and also probably entering into the practicals, the real industry, where they go and do something, and the students go explore, learn, maybe beyond apprenticeship. So is there any such thing that you can share with us, which we carry back?
Yes, absolutely. So as far as the schooling is concerned, and I'll connect this with the where you spoke about the three dimensions of NCR offer. So one is academia, second is vocational and skilling, and third is experiential. So definitely all these three verticals has to be in a sync, so that the final product, or you can say the final outcome, should be sustainable and it can last longer in that case. So for schools, if I talk about, then around 70 to 80,000 candidates in different Samagra Shiksha Abhiyan, in RMSA schools. So they undertake various electronic programs. So last year there was a very good initiative taken by MP government, where they have sent around 150 to 200 students with their faculties, and we arranged the visit of these school students into various electronic companies. And as we were talking, and as Arindam also said, that the landscape of industries specifically for manufacturing has changed. And
Yep.
once a student is coming from a school, and if he sees that how a LED is being manufactured, or how a air conditions is being manufactured, and how automated the processes are. So one is the you can say the focus on STEM education. Second is their outlook. And definitely when we are talking about experiential learning, so it is not only what they have been taught in their schools that ways. So that is how we are asking other schools in other states also that these kind of visits should be arranged for the candidates, because earlier these kind of visit, you see, industrial visit is only for graduation or for a degree program. But students, because we have to take special permission also, because these students are less than 18-year-old also, so we choose the industries in such a manner so that the exposure can be given to these candidates. And then a Q&A session, because you find these 8th 9th class kids a lot of inquisitive nature also, so they had a lot of questions and they went really happy after this session. So this is what we are planning for this year and the upcoming year also, to add the third dimension of experiential learning for the school candidates. As far as you have asked me about semiconductors. So that is definitely now, when Indian Semiconductor Mission was launched in December 2021, and now the major announcements of 3 companies for 4 projects have already been done. So Micron is coming up with their plant in Gujarat. Then Tata Electronics is coming for a fab as well as a ATMP unit in Assam, and then CG Power is also coming up with a plant. So we see that there are a lot of, this is a new sector where a lot of employment opportunities will come. And when we talk about semiconductors, so one is a design, where India already had courses for the design, and not only for India but for other nation also. The design hub is already existing in India, and a lot of more opportunities which will be coming under this domain. Then is the fabrication, and then is the ATMP or OSAT, that is the, you can say, assembly, testing, marking and packaging of those chips, where a lot of units have come up. And a few more announcements have already been done and will be included in the ISM additional package what the government is planning, beyond 76,000 crore outlay what they have announced earlier. So in this case, we understand that once these company will start their functioning, hopefully by next year mid, the manufacturing, the phase 1 will start, and we'll be requiring a lot of candidates for this particular domain, which was not existing in India. So what the Ministry of Electronics and IT have done is they have partnered with Ministry of Education, and through AICTE has already launched 1.5 years back the 2 programs. So one is a bachelor's degree for your VLSI design, and then diploma program for IC package engineers. And what we have been doing is we are aligning our programs as per the AICTE syllabus. And you'll be happy to know that within 1.5 years only, the syllabus has been already revised and the new syllabus has also come. So first syllabus which was made with the help of industries, and then later on it was found the way the ecosystem is developing for semiconductors right now. So the second revision has already been done. So the companies like Applied Materials or ARM, so what we have been doing, they already have some programs which are available in online mode also. And they were basically for faculty development programs for 30 hours, 60 hours. So we have tied up with these industries, and now we are working on the faculty development programs in phase 1. And then definitely we'll be going in phase 2 for the candidate driven programs also. So what we have been doing is like with ST Microelectronics. So we have partnered with them, and 2 of the programs, one in February and one in April this year, for embedded design and VLSI have already been conducted, where around 25 faculties from various our partner institutions have been called, and a 3-day training program was conducted here for free of cost for them at ST Micro by ST Micro experts only. And now we are making it a routine affair that, and you'll be happy to know that around 300 AICT colleges have launched these programs. Now it is a big responsibility in 300 colleges, when if we take minimum 60 students if have been enrolled also, for example. So in next 2.5 to 3 years, the first batches will start coming, and then every year the number of people who will be specializing in this domain will be coming out. So providing them job opportunities and then making them ready for the industry also becomes a very, very big responsibility for everyone in the ecosystem once we are developing this new ecosystem in the country. So in this case, as I said, so we are focusing on both, on faculties also as well as for the students also, and in both the modes, physical as well as hybrid. So if you know that semicon India, so semi in every region, so like semi US is there, semi Taiwan is there. So semi India semicon will be happening in September, 11th to 13th of September in Greater Noida this time. So semicon first happened in Bangalore, second happened in Ahmedabad, and third is in Greater Noida, 11th to 13th of September. So what we have done is that a lot of people will be traveling and coming for this event across borders also. So on 9th of January at IIT Delhi, we have planned a one-day workshop for various faculties for industrial safety for semiconductors. So where we are calling industry experts also, and we are planning around 100-150 people who will be coming and joining this program. And then this we'll be taking them various zone wise also, because we see in semiconductors, West is one where Ahmedabad or Gujarat has got importance. As far as the cluster is coming, Karnataka has also announced a cluster 2 days back for semiconductors near Mysuru. Then Assam is another region where a lot of capacity building to be done for Tata's plant, which is coming up in Moregaon also for ATMP plant. So I think various layers to the capacity development programs for the new ecosystem where we have to build, and one by one, by going into different verticals, that is how we are focusing on these.
Okay, okay,
Yes.
that's really a very vibrant scenario, I should say, from all the activities that are being carried out under your leadership and in the electronics industry, and that's nice to know. And I hope you'll be able to help people, like if they get back to you for more information. I mean, your team can maybe help them out if they reach out, because I guess there will be a lot of people who will be curious to understand how these things are being implemented, because that's what I was telling you when we started this conversation as well. Now moving on to the
I'll just add one more
Yeah.
thing, Madhuri, here. So what
Yeah.
we have done on our website, we have created a space for semiconductors,
Okay.
because when we go to different colleges and universities, so there's a lot of excitement what students have,
Yeah.
and sometimes it becomes difficult also to tell a first year child that when the country is talking about chips and wafers, they are not from Lay's. So so at that level also we have to create the awareness. So on this link, the various videos, the various value chain of a semiconductor has been explained, and various videos have been uploaded, and we keep on updating this page time to time. So that is how we are creating awareness, so that we can bring not all but most of the information at one page, which is quite handy for the candidates also.
Yeah, that's really nice. Thank you. And I think one keyword which is, emerging again and again is creating awareness, especially in the last part of our discussion, because I think that's what we need today if we want to send out this message very strongly and with a lot of conviction to people that look, taking up a skill course is also as beneficial as just doing any degree. Like you gave us the example of that icing on the cake, right? I mean, that was fantastic. We all want cakes with icing and not just the boring
Plain one.
kind of plain cake. So Mr. Arindam, now the icing on the cake in your sector, what are the measures that are being taken, let's say, to make this a sustainable engagement? Like I was saying, how do people, get exposed to the industry? Because we, like Dr. Abhilasha was saying, visits to the industry, taking school children or college students. Is that something that's happening even in the automotive sector, or what are the activities right now? And maybe you can highlight 2 or 3 very important points in this direction.
No, surely. I mean, visits and having short exposure stays,
Yeah.
which is kind of a short internship. And then, of course, the regular internship, which is maybe 8 weeks to 6 months kind of internship programs. On the job, in the auto industry, we have the Japanese as the leaders, essentially. And one of the Japanese terms that we ingrain in the auto industry is what we call as Gemba. Gemba essentially means go to the spot where the incident has happened.
Yeah.
So if you have to learn something about a particular technology or a process or whatever it is, if you are not at the spot where it is happening, then you don't really get to know what is happening. So, which is why this is very important. So, as Dr. Abhilasha was also explaining, for the school segment, the challenge is that a lot of our industries have safety norms, and therefore it's not possible to bring in these students at a below 18 years age in the real production line. But a lot of our industry actually, so we work with a large number of over 100 plus industry-based training centers, where the training center is co-located in the industry premises. So we take an opportunity to get the students to visit those places and get an experience. Even when they go to the training center in the industry, they actually get, I mean, of course, not 100% view of what the production line would be, but a close to 100% view of what it is, because these training centers are supposed to train the incoming manpower into the plant. So nobody gets into the plant without going through these training programs, especially around safety, 5S, etc., that we work on in a manufacturing environment. This is one area that we work on. The other area is that a lot of our industry partners and OEMs actually have invested in mobile training vans for their own extended network manpower, whether it's at their dealers or suppliers or whatever it is. So we've partnered with a couple of them already, and we're talking to some of the others as well, where their vehicles are not used all the time for their own requirements. So there are free capacities that are available. So depending on where this vehicle is available, we bring this vehicle and park them in a particular campus for about 3 to 4 days. And we allow students and the faculty members to come and experience that training at an industry level in their campus itself. The kind of instruments, the kind of training aids that are used in the industry, which is not easily available in an academic institution, is actually available, and the training is actually imparted by these industry trainers who are part of that organization full time. So they are not the generic skilled trainers, let's say. So you have professional technical trainers of the industry who is actually then imparting these trainings. And to top it all, we have also taken their e-learning material, which we have hosted on our websites now. Okay, so there are some courses that we have created as ASDC, but a lot of our courses are actually through partner organizations which are available for free to these people. And they can actually do that and then come to this vehicle and actually do hands-on in small batches.
Yeah.
So we are taking them to the industry, and we are also taking industry in a certain form to their campuses, essentially. More than that, also what we are looking at is creating an on-the-job module for each of our training curriculum and training module, so that every module we are actually getting the students to get exposed to at least 60 hours, 90 hours in the industry premises, because they get a real feel of what it is like, which is very difficult and challenging and very costly to simulate in a training environment necessarily. Even in the best of colleges, it is very difficult, So that is important for them. And finally, we are also saying that if you do some of these courses, then you become eligible for a full semester internship programs. And if they become an intern in a particular institution in their last or final or pre-final semesters, they have a huge possibility, if they perform well, that they will also get a job offer with those kind of industries. because industry is also constantly looking for the right kind of manpower for their own requirement. So that way it becomes more sustainable, and the supply chain of resources or human resources actually gets established. Our major role now is, when we go to a geographical cluster, talk to an engineering institution or a higher education institution, a diploma college or whatever, we try to connect them to the nearby industry members so that they can start working together, because that way it becomes more sustainable. One off, you can always do somewhere here, somewhere there. But how do you make it happen all the time so that the industry also knows that there are fixed partners, and the partners in academic institution, and the academic institution also knows that there is a fixed set of people who come and hire in our requirement. So we are also talking to various industries where we are asking them to spend their CSRs in the campuses to be able to set up labs which are more mimicking their processes, essentially. And they get the base training done there, and then they can bring them for an internship, essentially. So A, they have a training center in their own premises. B, they are running like an extension center of that inside the campus. So that way they are closer and much more aligned. And this happens as part of the curriculum, actually, because these are all creditized. Our courses now are all creditized. I mean, with most of the sector skill councils, all of us work on the ABC portal, in terms of the courses being available as credits. So the industry, the university or the college can actually adopt those credits as part of their board of studies, and make it an integral part of the program itself, essentially.
Yeah, so thank you for giving us this very elaborate picture of how it's actually being done with the industry on their premises and in many innovative ways. So when you take this forward, like you just mentioned about, setting up like a lab kind of an environment, how do we address this? Let's say, for example, like automotive sector, like we see clusters, like, or otherwise the presence of automotive sector, it's usually limited to a few states only, right? Now, if
as
we
far
want
as manufacturing is concerned,
okay,
but our vehicles run in each and every district, and each and every district has a service requirement.
So for the service part of it, you're going to take up this lab kind of thing.
That's the biggest requirement, actually.
Yes. So this can go up to the rural India to any level, right? That would be
any
great.
location.
Yeah. And I was also thinking maybe like you have these simulated modules and all, which people can probably try it out before, and then go and do the actual, practicing there. That's also probably possible in blended mode. Yeah. So Mr. Ravikanth, now in the logistics sector, what are some of the innovative practices that are being adopted, especially from the point of view of, I would say, there's one point which keeps coming when we talk about skilling is mobilizing candidates, mobilizing students. So I feel we should move towards a model where we are attracting them, not mobilizing them, because these two are very different words. So what are the things you are doing to attract them and not, reduce the mobilizing bit?
So exactly, Ms. Madhuri. So as I told before, you need to create a progression. It has to be natural. So I cannot ask a 12th standard MPC qualified or a BPC qualified candidate to come and take logistics, right? So we need to sensitize this at a very early level in terms of providing them a logistics literacy program, right? So because as such, this is not very aspirational. People, as you rightly brought it out before also, that it's all about driving, loading and unloading is what people assume, right? But there's much beyond that. You need to, learning about export and import procedures itself is a big thing. There are a lot of chapter numbers, there are a lot of harmonized codes, there are a lot of customs clearance procedures, and there are 220 countries and territories, and every country is different in terms of every product. right? So it's not that easy that somebody gets qualified in logistics just by doing a warehousing. So you need to sensitize them and create a natural progression, and also make it aspirational from an educational perspective. Like as I told you, we have signed with eight universities, across the globe. So anybody who is doing a BBA logistics, we are also sensitizing them that they can do a MS program in UK or US or Dublin, Ireland, or Germany. So these are the four countries that I'm working, and I'm also exploring more countries as well. So that's something which creates aspiration. Number one, they come into that. The biggest challenge that we have right now in terms of offering this course and making it sustainable, there are no faculty members, right? Because all the logisticians, 95% of logisticians have become logisticians because they got a job. Nobody studied and got it into logistics, including me, right? So now we are creating logisticians by choice and not by chance. So there is a mismatch there. There's nobody to teach, right? From an academic perspective, they can only share the experience. But if you're talking about credits, ABC, curriculum, structure, nobody follows it, right? So we need to plug that gap by doing a faculty development program, number one. And number two, we are also utilizing the aspect of professors of practice now. So you need to support the institutions by this is a big support that they seek from us. So we are actively using the professors of practice thing, and then we are giving them some good resumes, people from industry, and also train them on the academic curriculums and all that of what the structure is all about. So this is something that we are doing, and also not everything can be taught by the faculty members, because one of the biggest challenges that we encounter when we actually go and talk to the colleges is they always wanted these syllabus to be aligned with the existing curriculum. So I have to forcefully align my syllabus to geography in terms of the continents, the distance, and all that. A little bit on the mathematics in terms of time, distance, and travel. Right. So some of the things that I have to do, or I'm forced to do that, right? But it works. So that sort of an innovative embed that, because if you're giving a course by itself, I think that the takers are very less in terms of at least at the school level. So we have to embed that in mathematics, a little bit on the geography, a little bit on in any other subject which it gets aligned to. So this is what we are doing. Apart from this, at the school level, we have put it in a very gamification concept. It's not that we teach, the kids play, right, and understand logistics. In fact, there's a game called Monopoly, which all of us played when we were. So that's exactly logistics. You buy warehouse, you know which continent, you know how much to spend, you know how much inventory you manage. So these sort of innovative things will actually sort of penetrate well into the child's mindset, and then they will choose this as so. It is not typical. So these are some of the innovative things that we are doing. And for post graduation, we are not depending on the teachers. There is a self-paced course which we offer as a part of that curriculum through Moodle. So we offer that, and the student actually have to take that, and we also give some credits if the student completes that. So these are some of the innovative things that we made it so to make it aspiration first.
Okay, thank you so much. And also thank you for mentioning this issue about the trainers and teachers. We could not fit it into the scope of this discussion, but yeah, that's a very important aspect, and there is a huge gap, as we know. And professors of practice is one solution. Probably it could be one of the solutions, but we need, I think, many more like that. And we're glad to know that this is happening. If you can, maybe from electronics sector, Dr. Abhilasha, if you want to reflect on this, if you have a couple of minutes, you and Mr. Arindam, both of you also can share your views, because I think this is a very, very important aspect when we are talking about implementing these innovative new kind of curriculum and courses in colleges particularly. So is there something you want to say on this?
Yes, I think we need to have this inclusive approach, and that's what I have told you also, that we are focusing in phase one for the new, for creating new ecosystem for the new technologies for the faculties first, the trainers first and then going to the students rather than going directly to the students. So we, with the help of various our industry partners, so with our partner institutions, academic institutions, regularly we keep on, you can say that various lectures or more formal kind of a training for those faculties and whosoever is running our programs. So a 10 days capsule program or a week capsule program, so that where we fit in 3 to 4 experts of that particular domain, and then the refresher also. So if somebody has taken the course last year, so a refresher course of 3 to 4 days is again given to those faculties. So that is how we are planning, and it is of utmost important that trainers have to be trained first, and then only we can see the reflection of the quality delivery for the candidates also.
Yeah, Mr. Arindam, anything on this topic about this gap we have in the trainers and teachers?
Yeah, so basically, when we do this, you need in new technology areas, if you are putting up a lab. So whether it is the college who has put up a lab or it is being funded through a CSR of an industry or whatever, the most important bit that we are always advising the college is to ensure that when you get a set of equipments, get the training of the faculty members done by the equipment manufacturers themselves, equipment suppliers themselves. Because first and foremost is that the biggest challenge we find is that the equipment is installed in the lab, but the faculty has no clue about how to handle them. So we ensure that they are rigorously taught that process, and then they are tested on that handling of that equipment. Once they do that is when we get into the action in terms of actually doing the training of trainers of these faculty members, because then we come into how can they impart teaching methods by using these equipments. Now, unless you are very sure as to how do you program a robot and how do you maintain a robot and how do you ensure that the task is completed by the robot, no matter what you do in terms of teaching process, it will not work because it will remain only theoretical, because the faculty will never be able to demonstrate that, or if there are errors coming in the process, the faculty has no idea about what this is all about essentially. So the biggest challenge that we see is that a lot of academic institutions have great infrastructure, but everything is under lock and key. And nothing is getting utilized. And that is where the skill gap comes in. So while you will see that every piece of equipment and tools are there, but it is actually not getting used. So the biggest challenge that we are trying to overcome today is how do you make these trainers or teachers be very comfortable with the piece of equipment? Because being traditionally trainers or teachers, especially when you talk about higher education institution or school education, which are very formal classroom-based delivery, everybody is interested in the chalk and talk. At best, they would have become a good presenter of PPTs. But that doesn't help us in an industry like automotive. Here, nobody talks about a PPT. You have to get down and do things.
Yeah.
So unless you yourself. So some of the training programs we've been able to do with the support of the government, with the support of the German agency GIZ, is in terms of actually doing 3 months of training of trainers, where in 1 month, for 1 full month, the trainer actually works in an industry as an intern, and they have to do things by their own hand, be it welding, be it machining, be it automation, robotics, be it quality, whatever it is. So when we've done that kind of training, and we've done that for more than 300 trainers in the last couple of years, we found that the quality of those trainers, so while we did it as a training of trainer, we realized that those trainers have suddenly become master trainers, because compared to other trainers, they are at a much different level, effectively. So you get a better quality teacher only when you do a very in-depth, rigorous training of trainers that you do. And unless you do that, I don't think you will be able to get a very sustainable way of getting skilled manpower coming in from academic institutions.
Yeah. Thank you. Those are really, very useful points, especially the perspective you shared on the lack of this expertise. And I think most importantly, the hands-on part of it, because that's very important. That's the key differentiator from academics to, moving on to skilling. Or like even when we talk about the NEP policy, mainstreaming vocational education and all those 3 or 4 important points, I think until they get into this, it is going to be difficult. Now, where do these people come from? Do they come from the industry or do they come from training centers? I think that we have to decipher. And that's a process, I think, which we are catalyzing from this conversation. So is there anything else you wish to share before we bring this to a closure? Any other point which we missed or anything you wish to add?
I think we have covered most of the points. Only thing I can add is the 5 pillars of NEP. Same way for skilling also, we have to sync ourselves for the 5 pillars, like which is access, equity, quality, affordability, and accountability. So if we sync it into our skilling ecosystem also, then definitely we'll be able to develop a sustainable industry academia collaboration for sure.
Yeah, that's a very wonderful thought, and the way you connected it with the policy and what we need at the Sector Skill Council or at the Industry Academia collaboration. And once again, I wish to thank you all for giving us so much of your time. And I really hope this helps many people learn about what is happening in the Industry Academia collaboration, and most importantly, how we catalyze a thought process in making it sustainable. Thanks once again. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I hope you found this episode useful, the discussions we had and the points we discussed and deliberated upon. In case you have any queries, you can always write into us or share in the comments. And also in future, we are going to continue with this series and try to go deeper into the industry academia partnership or collaboration aspect, because we believe that this is the crux of the matter and this is the foundation of a very impactful skill development, skill education or vocational education, or you call it by so many names, work integrated learning or any of those names. This is the foundation, and this is where we have to really put a lot of effort and see to it that the academia, which might be new to this kind of learning, really needs a lot of hand-holding and help from the industry. So in case you liked the entire series or this episode, please subscribe to our YouTube channel and hit the bell icon so that you don't miss any update from us. Thank you so much for watching, and I look forward to be in touch with you. Do write into us and also subscribe to our e-magazine, which is The Skill Times. You can go to our website, that is National Skills Network, and also you will find the subscription link in the description box. Thank you so much.